The mediated-based rhetorical text that I picked for my podcast this week is the Anne Frank Childhood Home exhibit on the Google Arts and Culture website. Most people know Anne Frank's story through her famous diary or the museum in Amsterdam, but Google did something completely different and out of the ordinary with their online exhibit. They used their Street View camera cards and 3D modeling to completely map out her family's home. Her family had a regular apartment from the 1930s, and this exhibit allows the public to virtually walk through her childhood home and bedroom. Most memorials and forms of public memory from the Holocaust are very heavy and somber, reflecting on the horrible things that were done and the millions of people that were murdered. These memorials are designed for the viewers and attendees to be able to physically feel the weight of the death and the harm that occurred. Google's virtual exhibit uses the rhetoric of everyday life, of a regular life, that was lived by regular people. When you click through the apartment in each specific room, you see a normal home with desks, beds, a small lit-up kitchen, various colored wallpapers and rugs, and that they lived on a typical busy street. The rhetorical argument here forces us to remember the victims of the Holocaust, but not for how they died. This exhibit forces us to remember how they lived when they were alive. It reminds us that Anne Frank and all of the other people who were impacted by the Holocaust, who are now seen as historical figures, were just regular people like us before their lives were turned upside down. Rather than recounting the history of the Holocaust, this online exhibit shows where the lives were lived of those who were murdered during the Holocaust. Through this framing, visitors are able to identify Anne Frank as a relatable person rather than just a victim. Through the images shown throughout the tour of Anne Frank's childhood home, it also shows the impact of persecution and how devastating an impact that it can have. Seeing Anne's room and the other space Anne thrived in daily helps people who see the exhibit see her as a typical, carefree kid. This makes the reality of the Holocaust touch people who see the exhibit even harder, as it shows her death in the Holocaust as more than just the loss of life. Instead, it shows the Holocaust further as the destruction of identity, community, a home, and a future. The persecution that happened during the Holocaust is no longer seen as one event in history with the existence of this online exhibit. The exhibit shows the persecution as a process that stripped Jewish families and individuals of their homes, families, and normalcy. Persecution affects every dimension of someone's life, making Anne Frank's story representative of millions of experiences that Jewish people had during the Holocaust. Since the exhibit digitally reconstructs Anne Frank's childhood environment, the exhibit preserves the memories of the ordinary world that the persecution worked to erase and take away from her. This exhibit helps for audiences to remember persecution as a human tragedy with lasting social consequences, rather than just historical facts, data, and numbers. Google's digital exhibit makes Anne Frank's home and pre-Holocaust story accessible to anyone with internet access. The design of the exhibit also allows viewers complete control over how they move through the house, helping to encourage them to spend time with the details of her everyday life, rather than reading history books. Through this effort, Google is actively inviting the audience to participate in remembering, rather than just observing or reading. This shows that public memory is not fixed, and it's not always one thing, but it's reshaped through how it's communicated online. Google's exhibit proves that digital media can preserve the memories of the past in ways that a physical textbook can never do. By letting us walk through the ghost of a 1930s apartment, it keeps collective memory alive and deeply human.